Afternoon, everybody. This video is about how to answer question 4 for the IG Global Perspectives paper on the topic globalisation. The question today: the best way to benefit from globalisation is to improve transport links. How far do you agree with this statement? You have 24 marks for question 4, so that means that you should spend about 24 minutes on it. 24 marks is almost a third of your paper's marks, so make sure that you leave enough time for it. Step 1, you need to you need to work out whether you agree with the question or not. Here are some, on the left hand side, some options of why transport links would be good, and on the right hand side maybe some other options of ways to benefit from globalisation, such as improvement in ICT training technology, and improvements in immigration, and improvements of trade links. I brought it back, links to trade and immigration, back to transport. So for the process of this video, I'm going to say that yes, transport links to a large extent are the best way to benefit from globalisation. Step 2, you need to consider how you structure your answer. Now, this should be the same for every question 4 that you answer. Doesn't matter on the sources or the topic. It's 24 marks. You need to have 4 developed points, so 4 PE paragraphs, and some undeveloped points. You don't need to evaluate the sources on this one. Here are some sentence starters that you can use to structure your answer. Paragraph 1, I believe this is the most beneficial solution because other solutions that might be possible are. This is when you bring in some other points of view because you need to talk about some different perspectives. This is the most beneficial because, so bring it back to your point. Which one do you agree with? Why is transport links still the most important even though there are other solutions? Problems with this solution are, well, there are going to be some limitations to this solution which we will look at a moment, but they can be overcome because. And then paragraph 4, finally, this is the best solution because, and bring that to your strongest reason at the end so that the examiner can remember that when they are finally deciding on your grade. Reasons why this is beneficial to globalisation. So these could be used for paragraph 1 and paragraph 4. It improves trade links with other countries. It's economically beneficial. It's faster movement of goods and people. Improved transport links will have a local, national and global impact, so it will affect people locally, nationally and globally. You don't need to negotiate with other countries, so it's potentially a fast solution. Possible problems. Improvement works might be disrupted to national companies and local people. Like if you had, if your road outside your house is being redug up, then obviously that's going to disrupt you. The cost of an improvement works, that's obviously going to be decided by the government, and that's therefore going to take some money away from other things within the government, like education. You might have to resource building materials from other countries, so that might slightly limit you, and the political impact. Will it affect the political party's popularity? Will people want the priorities to be with the transport links or with something else? Step 3, you then need to select your evidence. When you're selecting evidence, you need to look for short sentences that support your idea. Obviously, don't pick sentences that don't support your idea. You need to look at different perspectives, so make sure that you have a mix of evidence from your sources, and you need to include your own knowledge as well to get the top marks. Let's look at some of the sources. Source 1, I don't think is very useful, so we're going to skip along. Source 2, you can include many examples from this because it's literally giving us factors which back up all parts. So you could use source 2 quite a lot. Source 3, you could use this in 2 different ways. You could use this as one that would support trade agreements between countries, as there is as that would potentially help relationships between countries. Or you could use this as a way of saying actually transport links is good because you don't need to negotiate between other countries to decide upon them. It's just between your own political party. Source 4, you could use, Irina talks about trade being a good thing, so that could be for your other perspective. And Rennick talks about the fact that immigrants coming over here and taking jobs is not a good thing. So that could be actually a limitation to transport links, as people are unhappy with that. So that could be affected by political priorities. When you're considering your particular point of view, think about these 10 questions. You can pause this slide so that you can have a look at this further. I'm going to try and think up a good way of remembering these so that in your exam you can reference this easily. Here I have written an example answer for you this evening. I am not going to read it out. You can pause the video and read it for yourselves. Just to give you the key, the red is the points, the green is the examples, blue is explanation, and this is an extra undeveloped point I've added onto the end. Same here, we have an undeveloped point, but I've made it red as I've actually included an example. Here, the orange at the end is linking back to my answer, because here I'm talking about actually improving trade agreements with countries as another option, a way of benefiting from globalisation. But I've linked it back to my argument at the end, so that's what the orange is. If we move here, I've included problems, PEE. I've also included a P and then I've explained it. Again, I'm linking it back to my argument, so I'm saying the problems are not that large and I'm explaining at the end. Here, my final reason is answering the question again. So all of the paragraphs are linking back to the question clearly so that I have a good structure. If we just quickly look at the mark scheme again, here, level 5, a very good response. We need to make a judgment. We need to have different arguments and perspectives. We need a range of clearly reasoned points, and we need 4 or more developed points, which we're doing in the 4 paragraphs, and very well structured answer.